Topping the news, global energy prices have spiked after a weekend attack on key oil facilities in Saudi Arabia. West Texas Intermediate was up over $5 when trading opened this morning. The attack caused the worst disruption to world supplies on record, and it is causing serious tension around the world. Yemen's Iranian-backed Houthi rebels claimed responsibility for the attacks on Saturday. But the United States has released satellite images it alleges show the fire came from either Iraq or Iran. U.S. President Donald Trump says America is locked and loaded, ready to respond, and he authorized the release of U.S. strategic reserves should they be necessary to stabilize markets.
Those reserves, that's what it's meant for, is shocks like this. Now, this could last a couple weeks or it could last longer, depending, because it's clearly now that the Saudis' production and their fields are vulnerable, so we should see maybe possibly more of this, but we do have lots of crude underground to make up for the shortages.
Danielle Smith from Global News Radio joins us now to continue this conversation, and you will be talking about it on your show today, Danielle.
Indeed. Well, it's sort of interesting. The U.S. president's response was, we don't need Middle East oil. We've become energy self-sufficient. We are now an exporter. We can help. Wouldn't it have been nice if we'd been able to say the same thing? We're going to talk with Tim Pickering today from Auspice Capital, because Eastern Canada is reliant on Middle East oil. We get 100,000 barrels per day, about 86,000 barrels per day from into the Irving refinery from Saudi Arabia. So I'll be interested in seeing what kind of impact that has. Can it easily be replaced? What kind of impact will it have on pricing there? But more generally on the East Coast, they price in Brent crude, and that's the one that's seen the biggest surge overnight. So they may get an immediate impact. Ours might be a little bit slower to follow. So the question will be, how long is this going to last? It does sound like the Saudi, surprisingly, really, how vulnerable the Saudi facilities are to be able to take out half of their supply with one strike, and also with the rebels saying that more of this is going to continue. So it's a real opportunity, really, for Canada to just say, hey, we're here. We're the solution. Not only should we be having forceful conversations about our own energy security and becoming self-reliant, but also on creating those export pipelines to international markets so that we can help out our friends, and so that they're not continuing to be at the mercy of the uncertainty in the Middle East. So we're going to talk all that through today.
Would Canada take up this opportunity, given that we're in the middle of an election campaign?
Well, it's ironically, your Green Party leader, Elizabeth May, has released her platform today, and Foursquare, right in the middle of it, it says, no new energy infrastructure, full stop, period, cancel Trans Mountain, and don't build anything more. And so talk about being kind of at odds with the reality of where we're at right now. When you look at where you have certainty of supply and certainty of suppliers, Canada should be at the top of the list. And yet you've got the Greens and the NDP wanting to take us to the bottom of the list. There are many people who are coming around to the view that as long as the world needs oil and gas, Canada should be not the first supplier to exit the arena, but the last supplier still standing to provide that supply. And I think that there is an opportunity for both Justin Trudeau and Andrew Scheer to be realistic about that, and tell Canadians what they really need to hear about the nature of the world reliance on oil and gas. I think Elizabeth May is talking about a world that doesn't yet exist. And if we continue on that way, we're going to create massive uncertainty around the world and not be able to solve the problems of energy supply.
Okay, we'll leave it there for now. Danielle, you have a good show.
Yeah, thank you.
And you can listen to this conversation continue at 9:30 on Danielle's show on 770 CHQR.